Good Friday, good Friday, good Friday. I'm playing y'all some original tunes, and I'm on time. Let some of the family members get here. You know the family gonna be late, man. It is what it is, man. You know the family gonna be late. I'm gonna let some family members get on in. We're talking defensive ends tonight. Talking defensive ends tonight, man. Y'all like that groove? Yeah. Some original grooves, original tunes. Ew, that's dirty. Yeah, that's real dirty. Yeah, that's dirty. That's my musician face. What's going on, y'all? What's going on, chat box? We'll let some of our cousins get in here. So I've been grinding tape. It's that time of the year. It's so much going on in the Cowboys sphere. Debates, who we could possibly draft, why we should draft said person. Obviously, the lack of moves on the cap, and not, excuse me, the cap is definitely a talking point right now. How much money we have, who we're signing, who we're not signing. All these things are talking points. Who are we going to draft, who we're not going to draft? Are we going to draft a tackle? Are the Cowboys going to draft a receiver? If one of the big four, I call them the big four now, they've been grouped into four. Roma Dunze, who I actually have as my receiver too. I actually have him over Malik Neighbors. That's just me. So, shout out to Roma Dunze. Obviously, Marvin Harrison Jr., who was building the lab. Malik Neighbor, whose movement, route running ability is truly, truly special. I will admit that. And then Brian Thomas, who we may have high hopes for, and there's some things in Brian Thomas's tape that everybody may not like. Didn't really show the ability to be a true yak guy, but I actually think that he has that ability. He just didn't get the opportunity with the routes that he ran and stuff like that. And then you think about guys like, Adonai Mitchell. He's interesting because, with him, I look at a player that is really good in spurts, and then I see a player who, I won't say that he disappears in games, but I don't know if it was because he knew who Quinn Ewers was. I don't know if that was some of the reason why he wasn't as urgent with his routes on every route. But it's interesting because when you watch his film, he has everything that you want as a route runner. Sneaky hips, fast, long speed. But then, his break tackle rate is awful. So he gives you nothing after the catch. Like he's just not a yak guy. He just doesn't have that in his bag. So, and these are some of the conversations that we're having. Could Dallas draft a defensive end? That's where we've gotten to, and then we'll finish up with Kdot versus Jcole. They both jabbing, little lyrical jabs. Who do we like in that battle? You know what I mean? So, shout out to everybody. Share this stream, like this stream. We're a little light tonight. I get it. It's a Friday. People kind of checked out for the weekend. People may be on mood, but my real draft fans, my real draft family is in here. And respect to y'all. And it's probably a few live streams going on right now. I haven't went live in a while, so I need to get back to going live. I've been doing shorts. I've been appearing on other people's channels, but I'm gonna start going live again throughout the week, more and more and more. So as we talk about DNs, I think that this defensive end class is interesting. I like it at the top. I think it's top heavy, but I don't see that Micah Parsons player in this class. I don't see a player who can catch the edge consistently, and win. And the player that I do see who has that ability, Latu, obviously the injury concern. Like, there's a guy who was medically retired, y'all. Like, just so we're clear, Latu was medically retired. Got a second opinion. Came back and had a phenomenal year at UCLA. I've said that his skill set reminds me of Jalen Phillips. And I've said that outside of Dallas Turner, who, you know, when you watch Dallas Turner, and we'll get to my rankings, my actual rankings, and then we'll get to the 5 that I really, really love in this class. When you actually watch Dallas Turner, I'm not going to lie, I see a player who could probably play off ball and will probably have more success, like as a Will or a Mike Backer. Just the way he runs to the ball, how physical he is at the point of attack. Like, I like Dallas Turner a lot, man. Like, I think that Dallas Turner has everything you need, but I don't know if I like him as a consistent, like, edge player, because I don't know if his bend is freaky in that way. Now, he blew the combine up. Dallas Turner was outstanding at the combine, but I just don't know if I like him as an edge player that you just leave out there and he's just your edge and he's just, you know, wreaking havoc and he's that Von Miller Micah type. Like, I don't see that in his game and in his makeup. If he was, he'd probably be talked about like a Will Anderson, like a Micah Parsons. And so that's kind of where I see him. And, you know, and also one thing that I want to make sure that I talk about, that's a very good fact. Whoever this is watching that, I don't know how you know that, but that's very interesting. Whoever this is watching this live, it's only one person who could be watching this, the late night podcast show. There's only one person who could be watching this that knows this. That's very interesting. I sung Beauty by Cisco. Damn, that's crazy. Who is that? Who is this? This is like Nardwar. Oh, okay, it's Christian. My guy. Chris, you got a podcast? That's dope. All right. Yeah, I sung it, man. Hey, look. Hey, I've been like in my musical bag. Hey, that's crazy. Christian actually was our youth quarterback. Great athlete. Pretty much my best friend growing up. Still is one of my best friends. I talk to him all the time. We got kids now. We getting old, dog. All right. You guys came here for defensive end. Let's talk defensive end. So, like, one thing about me, and y'all know me on my live, so anything I do, and I'm actually working on a few upgrades, but, like, in real time, I don't do nothing fancy, y'all. I'm old school. I'm pen, paper. Like, and I think there's more people who should probably write their thoughts down. And this is how I rank my edges, y'all. I don't know if y'all can see that. I write them down, and I honestly have more write-ups on these players, like deeper dives on these players. But when I do my rankings, pen to paper, you can see. Let's see if I can get it in frame. Yep, you guys see the edge rankings, 2024 edge rankings, bomb. And I put that on YouTube. That's just me. Like, I'm a throwback in that way. And so when we talk about the defensive end position, this team has a need at defensive end. Okay. You lost Dorrance Armstrong, who I don't think is a loss that you're not going to cry about losing Dorrance Armstrong, but it's a sneaky loss. He was in the rotation. He's with Dan Quinn. You don't know how long DeMarcus Lawrence will be on this team, and we don't know if he'll be on this team moving forward. Like, after this year, you could quite possibly be saying bye to DeMarcus Lawrence. You know, And that's like a conversation that you have to have. What's up, Double Move? If you want to jump on, we could talk, man. I can send you the link. Just let me know. I'm just talking ball, talking defense ends. I went rankings. So you have to have that DeMarcus Lawrence conversation, and you kind of may have waited too late because you lost Fowler, you lost Dorrance Armstrong, and now the problem with guys like Chauncey and Chauncey Golston and Sam Williams. Well, Sam Williams, I have a few theories on Sam Williams, and then I'll get to my rankings. I believe that Chauncey Golston can play. He played the 3 in college. He played a 5 technique in college. The issue was, and this is what I've said with Dan Quinn, consistently, Dan Quinn, towards the end of the year, it was very apparent, and honestly, offensive minds knew this. Dan Quinn wanted to fly upfield, get upfield, and he didn't really marry anything to the back end. And that's one thing that I can honestly say. That's Mike Zimmer's strength. But Dan Quinn, he wanted bodies in there that can get upfield. Let's get sacks. Let's get to the quarterback. Well, when you're playing a Buffalo team that can scheme, and, you know, I said this, and people argue me down, O'Cyrus Torrence wasn't going to be a good pick. Well, I'm watching him, and I'm watching him run trap against Dallas. And when you're running trap, anybody who's coached on any level, trap is we're going to use your quickness against you. So good OCs will do that. Okay? Good OCs will do that. I'm watching Green Bay use a similar game plan, and we'll max protect, we'll play action because you only have 4 guys, so we can chip Micah all game. And guess what we'll do? We'll send overs across the field. Good OCs will do that. And they were able to do that. It was very similar to who? It was very similar to the Arizona game. Trap, wham. So, like, everything isn't just going to be inside zone from shotgun. Everything isn't going to be duo. Like, there are teams who have some of those throwback schemes in their bag, and they got you. And they got you at defensive end and defensive line. So I had to preface all this, and thank you guys. Yes, make sure you guys hit, share, like, all that stuff. It's just me tonight. I'm just talking. All my rankings are actually on the channel. So make sure you guys hit those up. I'll put the link in the description box. All my rankings are on the channel, but I want to do this one a little bit differently because DN, I don't think that it's as pressing of a need, but it is a need. It's a need. You don't know how Micah Parsons is going to be used this year. We don't. We do not know how Micah Parsons is going to be used on this football team. Okay? We don't know how Chauncey Golston, who I actually like, the problem is I don't know if he has the pass rushing acumen. He didn't have the pass rush ability that Dan Quinn wanted. And then the elephant in the room is obviously Sam Williams. Sam Williams is a guy who big potential, but he's literally been everything that scouting reports said. And I remember I went on a Twitter round about this. Well, you know, he's had all this production, he's had all this, and he's had that. You know, why isn't he a lock first round pick? Well, does he love football? Why can't Sam Williams get on the field? Is he going to hit people after the play? Is he going to be offsides? Is he going to do this? And guess what? He's literally been all of those things. You've seen the big plays. You've seen plays where it's like, man, I don't know. Like, is Sam going to develop into anything? We know one thing, for whatever reason, Dan Quinn did not play him consistently. This is now going on year 3. And I thought that he actually took a step back last year, which is interesting. But Sam Williams took a step back last year. And so in taking that step back, we weren't able to really get a good gauge on who Sam Williams could be. Some of that step back was Dan probably not trusting him. Some of that step back was, hey, I just feel better with Dorrance, and I just feel better with, you know, Fowler. I feel better with those guys. I do. And then obviously you had DeMarcus Lawrence, who plays both sides of the ball, and then Micah, who's your chess piece. Well, this year, I think that you're going to see Micah more off ball. I think that you're going to see Micah Parsons play off ball. I think that he's going to knife to the quarterback. I don't know if I really like Micah consistently playing against players who are damn near 100 pounds heavier than Micah Parsons. but I like him in those double A situations. I like him running to the football if clean. I like him doing those things. I don't like him as a Mike. I've said that constantly. I do not like Micah Parsons as a Mike linebacker. You brought Eric Kendricks in to do that because I just think that he's a smarter player than Micah Parsons. I think that he has the IQ. And honestly, he came to play with Mike Zimmer to be the Mike linebacker. So Micah Parsons playing Mike isn't going to happen. You have the Marvin Overshown who could play some strong and who play some will. And then you have Micah Parsons who could play all over the field. So that's what we're going to talk about today. All right, let me run through these names. You guys, if you have a name that you like that I've talked about, I got a few names that I wrote down that I have stars by that I really want to get to. But let's get through these names. So we'll go Jordan Strachan. So I had 30 draftable defensive ends that I thought were draftable, and then everybody else, the priority free agents, I didn't want to do because honestly, in order for me to grade these guys, I got to watch at least 2 games of film. Really, sometimes you need to watch 3. But had to watch 2 games of film. Y'all see what I got going on. A little coconut water, man. Just got through working out. Feel good. All right. Jordan Strachan, South Carolina. That's my 30th ranked defensive end. Trajan Jeffcoat, Arkansas. Really, really physical player at the point of attack. Pass rush moves are kind of underdeveloped, but he's physical. I like the way he plays the run. I like the energy that he gives. JJ Weaver, Kentucky, my 28th edge. He has some flex to play outside backer. Another player, high effort, high motor, but played down the middle of people too much for my liking, but I wasn't bad at him. David, the names in this draft, y'all, are ridiculous. But David Bagbu, Houston, let's just go Houston edge, man. He's a great run defender. Long arms, really long arms. He might actually be better off ball. There's another Houston pass rusher that we'll talk about, Nelson Caesar. I like him actually more as a true end. David is more, he could be probably better off ball. Richard Jabunor, to me, the Troy defensive end, he's solid, but I floated with him being an undraftable player, but I watched his film multiple times. I said, nah, he could play. Solomon Byrd, USC. Listen, this guy had if he can put it together consistently, Solomon Byrd is a really, really good player. If I botch some of these names, y'all, I'm sorry. But Solomon Byrd, he has a lot of with Byrd, it was interesting because the production was really good. Tackle numbers were really good. Yep, Adisa Isaac is on the list. He's a little bit further up. With Byrd, he was really interesting because I saw some stuff, and then he would just go the whole game without making a play. But with Byrd, when you watch the Notre Dame game and both tackles are eligible, draft eligible, he has some decent rushes. Now he didn't win, but you see the pressures. It's not all about sacks. So let me run through these. Javonte Jean-Baptiste, Notre Dame. I like this player a lot. Played on that defense with Maris Lafatua. Just a really good player, man. I like his film. Zion man, these names kill me. I'm gonna just say Zion Tupula Fatui, Washington, high motor, not a great athlete, but again, high motor, really, really feisty against the run, active hands. That's what I wrote down, active hands, but the motor just wasn't there. Jalen Harrell. So both the Michigan edges, Jalen Harrell and Braden McGregor, high motor player, but he's light. Harrell was really light. Oh, we'll get to Mo Kamara. Don't worry about that. Really, really light. And so, I just don't see a 260 true end without real bend. I couldn't put him higher on my list. So now we're at 21. Miles Cole, Texas Tech. Miles Cole, to me, he had really no pass rush moves, but he did have violent hands, and that's one thing I liked about him. Braden McGregor. This is the Michigan guy that I want to talk about, and I know that you guys don't want to hear the word Michigan. You don't want to hear Junior Colson. You don't want to hear Blake Corum. You don't even like Eminem because of the word Michigan. If it comes from Michigan, you just hate him because of Taco Charlton and now Mozzie Smith. We don't want to draft anybody. And Luke Schoonmaker. Guys, I get it. But that doesn't mean that every Michigan player on the board can't play, because I tell you right now, I would draft Roman Wilson. I would draft Junior Colson. I would draft his teammate Barrett at linebacker. High energy player, special teams guy, run down, run around. Like, I would draft these guys. I really would. I would draft Zach Zinter. These are all Michigan guys. For the life of me, I can't believe how many people have forgotten about Zach Zinter. He's one of the cleanest interior linemen in this draft. He just got injured. But you see what happened with Andrew Voorhees. Voorhees is now going to start for the Ravens. Why? Because they use that redshirt year, and he's ready. Like, he's ready to go. So anyway, don't get me started on that. But Braden McGregor, one of the things that I wrote down, really good moves. Like, it was crazy. Like, his pass rush arsenal was kind of cool. If you go watch the Maryland game and the Wisconsin game, you have like a third round grade on McGregor. But like, those were the only tape that I could find, like consistent rushes. Everything else he got kind of locked up. So that's why he's at 20 for me. All right, now we start getting into the good stuff. Grayson Murphy at 19. Great player, but he's small. And he's one of the Murphy twins. He's small. Him and his brother, Gabriel Murphy, they're built just alike, but I like Gabe Murphy a little bit better. He's higher in my rankings. Justin Abigba, Bama, nice player. Nelson Caesar. Now, Nelson is a guy from UH that I like him as a rush player, and he is really good versus the run. And this is a guy from Houston. So Houston has 2 draftable DNs. I really, really like him. You guys write this name down, okay? Nelson Caesar can really, really play. Write this next name down. Now, he could be kind of that Alex Highsmith. I don't know if you guys know how good Alex Highsmith has been for the Pittsburgh Steelers, but like, he is one of those guys that everybody talks about Watt, but they extended Alex Highsmith for a reason. Came in, third round pick, did his job. And that, to me, when I look at, where am I on my list? I'm sorry. So with Brennan Jackson, 6'4", great play strength and effort. Great play strength and effort. So we doing stars, y'all. We taking notes. Everybody should be taking notes. Okay. When you watch Brennan Jackson play, you're like, what is it? I think he's just not flashy. But like, when I'm telling you now, man, like, in the right defensive scheme, he's just gonna make play after play after play. He's my 16th rate edge. Whew. Like, this is I'm telling you, man. And so we get to Jalix Hunt, Houston Christian, converted safety, but the bend is there. And that's why he is number 15 on my edge. When you talk about his bend, people like Jalix Hunt, and I see why. Javon Solomon Troy, Muhammad Kamara. Mo Kamara. You could not watch the Colorado tape and tell me this guy was not a first-round pick. But obviously, when you look at him, the measurables will have him in the third, fourth round. Make sure y'all can hear that. The measurables will have him in the third, fourth round. But that's literally the only thing. And I wrote down on my film, if Muhammad Kamara was 2 inches taller, he's a first-round pick. Like, that's how much I believe in that guy. But there are reps when you can see tackles get their hands on him and they use their length on him, and the rep is over. And so that's why he's where he's at on my list. But he's small, but his energy, his pass rush set, the way he plays against the run, his vibe, like, he just got a vibe about him. Was at the Senior Bowl, he looked good. Like, he just has a vibe about him. His hips, his speed to power is going to be a problem. And I will say this, there's a world for smaller defensive players who know how to use leverage against bigger guys. So you talk about Aaron Donald. Obviously, you're talking about an all-world player in Donald. But even, man, like, there's just a world for those. I mean, Osa isn't the biggest D tackle, but Osa in the beginning of the year is a different type of dude. And then he does start to wear down. But like, when you understand leverage and hand placement and rush stability and like and blocking destruction. Like that's what you talk about with Mo Kamara. I think he's really, really good. All right, let's blaze through these. Gabe Murphy, the other Murphy twin, Jonah Ellis, Austin Booker. Austin Booker, I came away honestly feeling a little underwhelmed with Austin Booker. I know everybody's higher on him. I wasn't as high. I have him as my 10th rated edge, but you know, I think there are some of these guys that are down the list more that could possibly be even higher than him. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I just don't see Osa being asked to deal with double team. No, you're right, and I agree with that. Alex, we'll get to Darius Robinson because I wrote a lot about him. Marshawn Nealon. Let's talk about Marshawn Nealon. Small school guy, okay, Western Michigan. And he's my 6th ranked edge. And I don't want to skip over Adisa Isaac because he's the edge opposite of Chop Robinson. He's my 7th ranked edge. So really good player in Nealon. I thought that, you know, and even Chris Braswell, like it's so these opposites. So the Murphy twins, opposite of Latu. Chris Braswell, opposite of Dallas Turner. Isaac and Robinson, opposite of each other. These guys are really good, man. Like, you know, really good. So let's talk about Chris Braswell and Adisa Isaac. Both just steady Eddies, higher floor than ceilings, but like both could end up being like 6 to 10 sack guys a year. And their sacks can win it of them not being like the top rushers in the league, but like, you know, rusher 15 to 30, like in that rush range. And I think that's how those guys will win the league. I really like Adisa Isaac. I think that he plays good against the run, long arms very well, and I love him. All right, let's get to my 5th ranked edge, and then we'll talk about his top 5. So Darius Robinson. Listen, I honestly, if it weren't for the testing, I would probably have Darius Robinson as my edge too. But the testing was a little underwhelming as an edge. But that does not mean in any way, shape, or form that he won't be a great edge. The problem with Robinson, though, is you need a defensive coordinator who can live with him being a 5 technique and just pressing tackles all game. If you have a defensive coordinator who's looking for Robinson to get sacks, then I think that you'll be in trouble. Because I don't see him year one being a high sack guy. Just not his bag. And so with Robinson, I think that you have to. It's not a buyer beware with him because there's not a there's articles about him staying after leading workouts. There's not a player in this draft who I believe is more disciplined, more gritty, will come out and lead his group, will be there. I mean, he already has an NFL body. So that's one thing that you don't have to worry about with the player. NFL body. That's one of those things to where it's like when you see his body, you know, he lives in a weight room. So that also speaks to how hard of a worker he is. So like that's your D-Law replacement. That's not your Micah Parsons replacement. So, but for him to be able to play the 3 and the 5, and so now when you want to get to certain packages and he can do both of those things well, like he's your Chauncey Golson upgrade, and I think that he would do a great job being just that. Chop Robinson. I love Chop Robinson. I love, you know, if you just put on, what game was that I was going back and forth with somebody? So no Diddy, definitely no Diddy. Let's look at it. So if you just watch, it was a tape I was watching on Chop. So this guy, you probably drafted number 1 in the class. If you watch Chop, let me see. What game did I watch on Chop? And I was going back. So if you watch the Iowa tape, you'd probably say Chop Robinson was the best edge in the class. To me, what I saw in Chop. Hand usage, the ability to play blocks, play recognition, catch the edge. Like in those games, it was all flat out special. But then Michigan tape, up and down, Illinois tape, up and down. But like it's all there with Chop. You know, DMV guy. I just think that, man, like, because I actually watched him play at Quince Orchard High School. Like the guy is a stud. But what we got to figure out is what was he asked to do on that defense? There's times he's rushing the C gap. There's times that the A and the B gap. There's time, like all of these things that he's doing, we got to ask ourselves, what was he asked to do? And then how do we reimagine him in this defense? Because I do think that he has some ability similar to Micah, but he's not the same player as Micah, does that make sense? Like he doesn't have the athletic profile as Micah. He just doesn't. But the speed and the ability to catch the edge and the ability to run is there. Like, so it's just interesting with Chop, but I have Chop as my fourth ranked edge. Then we get to Jared Verse. His hands, we're talking about Verse now. Verse's hands are just the definition of violent, the definition of like, I want to beat you up and kick your teeth in. Like he's coming into the game to put hands on you, Jared Verse is. Right now, pro level run stopper. And like there's people say, well, I want sacks. There are GMs and good defensive coordinators that value that sometimes over sacks. We can scheme sacks. We can't die that slow death of getting punished in the run. And he's a round one league level ready run stopper right now. And so what you got to ask yourself is how, if I'm drafting Jared Verse in the top 15, what will I ever get to that 14 sack year with Verse? I don't know. Because there are times that as a pass rusher, I'm a little underwhelmed. There's times when I'm like, wow, best defensive player in the draft. But so with Verse, that's kind of where I'm at with Verse. And then Latu is my edge too. Listen, had he not had the injury history and and you don't want to grade a player off one game, but when you watch him versus Talise Fuaga, Oregon State game, I just see a world where there could be games where he just is getting washed, and there were times that I saw him struggle with power. With that being said, he's playing basketball on that island with these tackles, man. And when he's playing a tackle that's not league ready, you need to know that he is going to embarrass them. He is going to, if the tackle's not ready to go, like if it's a tackle that's going to be a doctor one day, Latu's going to get pressures. He's going to get sacks. He has that high ceiling sack ability that Jalen Phillips gets to the quarterback consistently over and over again with his feet, with his root moves, with his cross chop. His cross chop is like he came out the womb doing a cross chop. He's exceptional with it. He knows how to get to tackles upfield shoulder and then use that momentum against him. Like he has all that in his bag. But the injury history, and he is a little light. There were times that I felt underwhelmed with him versus the run. And then number one on my list is Dallas Turner. I said it. What game was I watching? I was actually watching Jonathan Brooks, and I was making up a cut up for Jonathan Brooks. If you guys go watch the Jonathan Brooks film, and I say, yep. If you guys don't see why Turner is a top pick, is a first round pick, go watch him just bully and just stack and press those guards in that Texas game. Like he's playing on the other side of the he's playing on the other side of the line of scrimmage in the Texas game. When Alabama played Texas, he's literally block destruction is just crazy. And then he's running to every tackle. He's getting in fights after the play. Like he's just that guy. And there's a reason why he's being evaluated in this way. Like I said, I think he would stand to be better playing off ball, because you watch the athletic test in the 40-inch vert, you like, man, this dude could be Fred Warner. He could drop well. He has fluid hips. Well, you could play him farther away from the ball. He's one of those guys. He's probably the closest athlete that I've seen to Micah in a long time. Nobody in last year's class was close to Micah. This guy with the 40 he ran and with the athletic test, and I think Dallas Turner is probably the closest to Micah Parsons. So that's my list, guys. Dallas Turner is my edge one. And would you guys, let's talk about it. And you guys talk back to me. Would you guys draft a defensive end? And what defensive end would you guys draft? Like, what defensive end do you guys want? Talk to me, y'all. Talk to me, chat box. 77 people in here. Let's talk. Okay. Cool says yes for sure. Okay. Verse. Okay. Verse. If he is BPA, then Dallas Turner. Okay, Ultra Cowboy. And you know, Dallas Turner could do something crazy night one, and guess what? He's a Cowboy. There's no way that Dallas Turner falls. Verse is interesting because you know what? I could see a world where teams aren't in love with Verse. We've seen it. I can see that world. I can see a world where teams aren't in love with, because of the tackle class. And I'll be doing one of the. Actually, I already did tackles with Vach, but because of the tackle class, I can see a world where they aren't in love with either Verse or Turner, and they say, "I like the receivers, I like the tackles, and I like the corners." Okay, Alex is taking. See, this is what I want. This is what I wanted right here. Thank you, Alex. Now we're talking draft. Give me your plan. So Alex says this. I'm taking Darius Robinson. He and Sam Williams split snaps. Okay, nice. Micah obviously gets down snap. Okay, cool. That's what I like. That's a plan. I'm not mad at that. I'll never be mad at that. And I like Darius Robinson in that situation. We need a COVID year for Turner to fall to us. I agree. Ultra Cowboy. Nah, for sure. Darius Robinson. Yep, Darius Robinson. Hey, what's up, Al Walton? Okay, Cowboys fans, listen. And you know it is funny, and I'm trying not to, and make sure that I don't fall into, like, even on Twitter and all those places. You guys make sure you follow me on Twitter. Somebody said make sure the music is ready. We actually just dropped some little tunes, so make sure you guys hit me up on Twitter and IG. Listen, I actually talk back on IG, so just shoot the followers up on IG for me, man. That's love. So here's the deal. Some of this propaganda, Micah doesn't want to play, blah, 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 blah. They don't have a contract. This is where we are. And I knew we would be in this situation because of what? Because of the offseason the playoff run and how fast we were able to get to the offseason because we got smoked in the playoffs versus Green Bay. Because the Cowboys got beat how they got beat, like, there's no way you thought that there wasn't going to be this type of offseason, this type of chaos. And I know everybody said, well, the Joneses aren't, the Joneses aren't doing anything. No, they're not. Because the truth is I don't know if they know what they have. They can say, we want Dak to be the quarterback and all these things, and I'm with you, but they want to find out how good is Dak really and how good is Mike McCarthy really. Now, they've shown regular season wise 12 wins, the whole nine. But then, for whatever reason, in those games, and I'll say coaching, a lot of it was on Dan Quinn. That's why we're talking about defensive ends and this type of stuff. So when you have the way that you lost the playoff game, you got to know it was going to be the Wild Wild West. So I try not to get involved in any of that negativity because, like, out of nowhere, nobody likes Micah Parsons anymore. Really? Come on. There's not been a day. There's not been one game where I said, was Micah Parsons playing hard? What are we doing? So, Cowboys fans, I'm going to enjoy my Friday. I'm going to watch this women's basketball. Does women's basketball come on today? It's tonight, right? What time does the game come on, y'all? Is women's basketball on tonight? Somebody let me know. Is women's basketball on tonight? Believe the championship is tonight. But yep, that's what I'm gonna do. And then, okay, the game is on right now. Thank you. And then, honestly, we got to talk about the truth of it all, and that is, who's better, Jcole or Kdot? Which disc did y'all like more? We talked about Braswell earlier, Brandon. Which disc did y'all like more, real quick? Jcole or Kdot? Talk to me. Which one did y'all like more? We Jcole fans in here? Oh, we Kdot fans in here. I'm gonna tell y'all who I like, but I want to hear y'all's first. Ooh, we 1-1. Okay, 2-1. So for me, I think that the beat on on Kendrick's disc was a little bit like harder. That beat was crazy. Metro Boomin went crazy. I actually did like the bars from Cole, but I just didn't like the beat. Boomin, Metro, he a cheat code. Them drums was stupid. So, all right, y'all. It's your boy Foots. Like I said, a little light in here. I get it. It's Friday. Y'all want to talk football. Y'all want to go out and party. Go party then. I'm going to watch some more film. Peace.